Have you ever carried pain so deep, it became part of your identity? A betrayal, a harsh word, a moment you didn't choose but couldn't escape. It starts small: a sharp comment, an unfair accusation. Someone you trusted turned their back on you. Someone you loved failed you when you needed them most. You tell yourself, it's fine. But then you find yourself thinking about it days, weeks, even years later. You smile at others, but something inside stays clenched. You lie awake at night, replaying the scene. What you should have said, what they shouldn't have done. There was once a man who had a close friend. They shared meals, jokes, secrets. Then, one day, the friend turned others against him. The man was blamed, left alone, bruised by betrayal. He tried to move on. But every time he saw a familiar face or heard that name, his chest tightened. He was right, he told himself. The friend was wrong. Still, peace never came. Resentment is a quiet poison. It tells us we're justified. That holding on is a kind of justice. But in truth, it only builds walls. Walls that block out light. Walls that keep out joy. Buddha said, "He abused me. He struck me. He overpowered me. He robbed me." Those who harbor such thoughts do not still their hatred. Dhammapada, verse 3. Notice how the Buddha names every wrong. Abuse, violence, injustice. He does not ask us to pretend it didn't happen. But he shows us something deeper. That the pain continues not because of what happened, but because we keep it alive. Every time we rehearse the memory, the wound reopens. Every time we declare, they don't deserve forgiveness, we trap ourselves in that very moment. Forgiveness is not letting them off the hook. It's unhooking yourself from the pain. It's not weakness. It's courage, the courage to say, "This pain ends with me." And that's where healing begins. What does it mean to truly let go? Not just in words but in the silence of your own mind. So many of us believe forgiveness is about the other person. If they apologize, then I'll forgive. If they admit what they did, then maybe I can move on. But what if they never do? Buddha's teaching goes directly to this dilemma. He abused me. He struck me. He overpowered me. He robbed me. Those who harbor such thoughts do not still their hatred. He abused me. He struck me. He overpowered me. He robbed me. Those who abandon such thoughts still their hatred. Dhammapada, verses 3-4. There's repetition here. It's deliberate, not just for poetic rhythm but to reflect how the mind works. We repeat the story of harm. We keep it alive not just once, but daily, hourly, silently. The Buddha does not deny the pain. He names it clearly. He validates it, but then he turns the mirror back to us. Now that it has happened, what are you choosing to hold on to? Forgiveness, in this light, is not about justice. It's about freedom. Freedom from carrying someone else's action like a burden on your own back. Freedom from letting your past dictate your present. The Buddha's path was never about pretending. It was always about waking up. Waking up to the suffering we continue by our own grasping. Waking up to the peace we can reclaim by loosening our grip. To forgive does not mean to trust again. It does not mean to forget. It means you no longer drink the poison of resentment. You set down the burning coal you've been gripping. Buddha once said, "Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned." This is not just metaphor. Think of the moments your jaw tensed from rage, your sleep broken by painful memories, your joy dimmed by a flash of old hurt. Anger affects the body. It changes your breath, your heart rate, your very chemistry. Forgiveness, then, becomes a form of self-care. A medicine not for them, but for you. And here is the truth. You can begin even if you don't feel ready. You can begin by simply whispering, "Maybe I could stop carrying this." Not because they asked for it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness is not a moment. It is a muscle one we learn to stretch, again and again. Many people ask, how do I forgive when I still feel so much pain? The answer begins not in the mind, but in the heart. Here is a practice, rooted in the Buddha's path of mindfulness and compassion. A path not of instant relief, but of slow, steady healing. Let's walk it together step by step. Step 1. Recognize. Say to yourself, "This hurt me." This may seem simple, but many of us skip this. We rush to be strong, or spiritual, or kind. But to heal, you must first honor your wound. Not with blame, with truth. You were disappointed. You were misunderstood. You were hurt. Let your heart say it aloud, "This happened. And it hurt." Step 2. Feel and express. Sometimes, pain festers because it has nowhere to go. So give it a voice. Write a letter not to send, but to release. I felt betrayed. I felt invisible. I needed something that wasn't given. Let your feelings be seen even if it's just by you. That is where dignity begins to return. Step 3. Cultivate compassion. Now, gently, turn your attention inward. Place a hand over your heart. And say, "May I be free from this suffering. May I find peace." This is metta loving kindness. It's not denial of pain. It's the beginning of peace. And if only if you feel ready, extend that wish to the person who hurt you. Not because they deserve it, but because you no longer want to carry their shadow. May they be free from their ignorance. May they awaken. Even if you don't mean it fully, the act of saying it can soften the tight grip inside. Step 4. Release. Now breathe. Long, slow, gentle breath. And as you exhale, whisper, "I choose peace over pain. I choose release over resentment." And then be patient. You may have to do this again tomorrow. And again the next day. That's okay. Each time, the grip lessens. Remember, forgiveness is not a destination. It is a direction. And each breath you take toward that direction is healing. What does life look like after forgiveness? Not a perfect life. Not a life without memory. But a life where memory no longer controls your peace. Something changes when you let go. Not in them but in you. You wake up and realize your heart is lighter. The tension in your chest is gone. You no longer scan every moment for betrayal. You're no longer rehearsing the pain. You begin to reclaim your life moment by moment. You smile without effort. You feel safe in your own presence. Forgiveness frees energy. Energy that was trapped in resentment now becomes joy. Energy that kept you stuck in the past now fuels your future. Buddha said, "Whoever fills their heart with loving kindness shines like the moon among the stars." Metta Sutta, you begin to shine again. Not because what happened was okay, but because you've stopped letting it define your light. There's a story of a woman who forgave her sister after decades of silence. They never became close again. But that woman stopped waking up angry. She started painting again. She began to laugh without guilt. That is the power of forgiveness. Not reconciliation, not justice, but peace. Your story might be different. Maybe the person is gone. Maybe the wound feels too deep. But here's what's true: you are not your wound. You are the space that can hold that wound and still breathe. Still live, still love. Forgiveness is not about forgetting. It's about remembering differently. It's about saying, "That happened, but it no longer owns me." This is your new chapter. You get to write the ending. With peace, with strength, with light. So breathe in, and whisper gently to yourself, "I'm free now. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become."